Hey yo, hello, hello, hello. Another one like the other one, and some more of it. I am your host with the mother loving most, Beethoven, the innovator. And this is Liquid Courage episode. I don't know. I have not been counting, but welcome, welcome, welcome to another beautiful, thirsty Thursday night hype. And tonight's the night, right? So, as always, have yourself, as I have myself, a sip, kick back, and relax. Check it. I would like to start this off by talking about something that I believe to be possibly foolish. It may not seem foolish now, but I feel futuristically speaking, it very it much very well be, right? It will be. Excuse me, I can't get my words together. But I think it will be. So something called a mocktail, labeled a mocktail for better sleep. Now, this is something that has been presented by a TikToker. Um, I'm not saying that she's wrong. I'm not saying that it's okay. Uh, my take on it is I feel that it's a tad bit foolish only because kids are easily influenced. And the fact that children are easily influenced, we went through the episode of Tide Pods being sniffed or smoked or whatever, and all these different things, right? They had all this trend that these kids weren't even using actual drugs, but just to be different, they were taking on other things to supposedly get high. Which you know, I'm not an advocate for drugs. I'm not an advocate for people getting themselves inebriated by any shape, form, or fashion. But if you're gonna do it, do it. You don't need to. I mean, you don't get any points. There's no additional kudos for. Oh yeah, well, I was, I was, I was sniffing paint. You know, the type of paint that they spray on a car. I was sniffing containers of that. Like nobody cares, right? At the end of the day, nobody really gives a damn. But I'm saying all that to say, this mocktail was concocted. It was a concoction put together for sleep. To to let's make my favorite sleepy time cocktail. Now I'm old school. I'll just have some tea, right? They have sleepy time tea. You can take melatonin. They have melatonin tablets that are chewable, capsules. I believe there's a melatonin tea. For those that are of age, they have CBD gummies. They have tinctures. They have all these different things that are already put in place to uh, to the public, right? And to the consumer. Now, I'm not saying that you can't think of anything new and you can't make up something new, but I just think it's crazy because it's like tart cherry juice, I believe. Don't quote me because I'm reading it. I'm just not reading it verbatim because I kind of skimmed through the story. But it's like tart cherry juice and melatonin, right? Put in the beverage. Now I get it. Tart cherry juice is supposed to supposedly it has like a high level antioxidants and all these other things that assist with the body. Now, aside of the antioxidant part, there's supposed to be it helps release the natural melatonins in our body, supposedly. Um, I talked to some individuals about this because I was going to, drink about, 2 to 4 ounces of cherry juice every so often when I couldn't sleep, and of course dilute it because the pure juices that are not from concentrate can be bad on the kidney when so you need to drink water, right? The sugar content that's naturally in the pure fruit and veggie juices. Now, this is being used for sleep. But I was told that I guess it depends on the body and it's not 100% true. I don't know. And I've seen information go both ways on the information I received prior to reading up But I just think it's, to promote this. Now, I don't know how it's being promoted. I didn't watch the video. I just seen, excuse me, the headline of the article, the title of the article, and just read through the article somewhat. And again, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's right or whatever. I just think it's kind of foolish that we're promoting as entertainment. Hey, you can take this and go to sleep, especially in a climate that we're living in these days and times where you know people are there's rape is at an all-time high. Well, I don't know all-time high, but rape is up there, right? You have people raping people, sexually assaulting people, um, finding ways to knock people out and take advantage of them just to kidnap them, right? So, uh, I just don't think that would be okay to promote. I get it. The TikToker, I don't think she mean any harm by it. However, people take things like that and they make it convenient for whatever it is that they're trying to do. So no matter how tragic it is to somebody else, that could probably come back on her. And it's also unfortunate that even doing something like that, which is seemingly harmless, can come back to haunt her possibly in the long run, right? So futuristically speaking, something could happen to somebody. They say, "Hey, where'd you get the idea? Where was the sleepy time mocktail? Where's the mocktail for sleeping or whatever?" Right? And then they won't go off your ingredient. They'll put an extra couple of doses of melatonin amongst other things, and allow people to knock themselves out, if you will, for terrible play on words. But that's what will happen, right? Could be used as a date rape drug. I don't know. I'm kind of speculating here. I don't know if it's speculating, but I'm just kind of, just throwing some things out there how this could possibly be looked at. Because immediately when I was reading, when I seen the header, right, the title for the article, I'm like, kind of strange, right? Just a bit awkward. But again, I recently spoke about things that people do for fame. And a lot of times when we do these things, we don't realize the things that we're saying and the information and energy that we're putting out there for other people to receive. We just need to be mindful. Really, that's my point about this here article. And it will be somewhere, right, for you to read. I will make sure I add this link to the video. So if you feel like you want to go down that rabbit hole and get a little more detailed information, by all means, please be my guest. But yeah, I just don't think that we put too much thought towards the things that we put out on the internet when we create the content that we create. And as a digital creator, right, when you're creating content for these social media platforms, you need to understand that yes, it should be the guardian or the parent who gets all the backlash if the child do something stupid, but unfortunately, it is not. And you can't be around your kid 24/7. For those that have kids, those parents out there, no matter what you do, all it takes is 2 seconds, 2 minutes, 2 hours, whatever. You give them enough time to take advantage of an opportunity for them to kind of free roam, especially the internet, and they will find things that are not suitable for children. It happens all the time. So, yeah, to that particular TikToker, may all the good vibes and blessings be in your favor. I just don't think that it's a good idea to promote such things, at least without a disclaimer. You shouldn't do it without a disclaimer. At least have a disclaimer with it. Again, it could be in the video. I didn't watch the video, but it is an interesting piece, right? A topic to talk about because, all the different things that are happening in today's society all around the world, right? People are easily influenced by anybody who has, thousands of fans, followers, social media family, whatever you want to call the people that are attached to the content that you present weekly, daily, monthly, whatever it may be, hourly. I don't know. But yeah, I just thought, there's just so many ways out there to go to sleep. I think we could have done without this information. Now, moving on a higher note, on a higher note, for those that do not know, the NBA last month reports stated that the NBA will be removing cannabis from its banned substances list. So, I think that's a good thing. Round of applause for that. They will be removing it from their banned substance list. No longer testing for the drug as part of a 7-year collective bargaining agreement, better known by the acronym CBA, which is, for those that don't know, because I just recently found out, the collective bargaining agreement is a written legal contract between employer and a union representing the employees. The CBA is the result of an extensive negotiation process between the parties regarding such topics as wages, hours, and terms and conditions of employment. Now, this is obviously a term and condition of employment, excuse me, based upon the fact that um, substance abuse gets athletes suspended and or fired. Now, the fact that cannabis, marijuana, you know, devil's lettuce, street salad, whatever you want to call it, and I didn't make those up. I'm just dubbing it from what I've heard. I just thought those were some funny terminologies. But anyway, uh, marijuana has not really been considered. Cannabis period has not been considered to be an enhancement drug, right? Even though it's used for medicinal purposes, it has not been known to enhance, to heighten the skill set of any athlete. That has yet to be proven. I don't think it will ever be proven because I don't think that connection exists to where marijuana, cannabis is consumed in any shape, form, or fashion. And next thing you know, person is just ridiculously better than what they once were. I don't think that's the thing. Uh, but yeah, so of course, Snoop D.O. Double, Uncle Snoop Dogg, chimed in on it when it was I believe when it was a new topic of discussion. It's not new anymore because it happened last month. But he believed that the 7-year CBA could be very helpful, and I'm paraphrasing here, from a medical aspect, right? With keeping players away from injection pills, opiates, etc. Those things that become a hindrance to the player's health later on in life, especially after they retire and their bodies aren't as active as they once were. So he thinks it'd be helpful because of that, as well as, like I just stated, after sports, right? When they're living life after sports, they'll be able to treat themselves and medicate themselves, heal themselves with cannabis, which that has been proven. The percentages, fluctuate with that depending on what your sources are, what your resources are, and how you get your information. But he also mentioned that the NHL and MLB has already done away with that. So the NBA will now be joining the NHL and the MLB, National Hockey League, for those that don't know, and Major League Baseball will be joining those two leagues of major sports with not testing for cannabis, right? So I don't know when it was put in place for those two leagues, and I don't know how long it's in place for, but it will be a 7-year collective bargaining agreement. So it went to the union for the players union, and fortunately, this is the outcome. No, excuse me. And there's been players that's been known to smoke in the NBA. It's a known fact that they were smoking, and I mean, it didn't do anything for them one way or another. If they was good, they was good. If they was bad, they were bad, right? So it didn't really do much for them one way or other. It didn't make them slow and sluggish and not play, and it also didn't make them quick, fast, and with the Hawkeye on the court, able to see the ball and try to predict which way the player was going and whatever. All these things, it just didn't make them better, right? And it didn't make them worse. So I agree with Snoop. I agree with the league's decision. um, uh, bringing this forward and testing the water. So we'll do 7 years and see what happens from that. So big up to the NBA for not making cannabis. I'm not a big cannabis user, right? That's really not my thing. Having a sip, kicking back in a cigar is my thing. But for each their own, and I think it's a good thing because I don't think they were testing for alcohol. So how could you go get as drunk as you want, but you can't, but you can't. Not saying you should, but you can't smoke a couple of joints and just chill. You know what I mean? Without having to worry about being tested and possibly suspended and considering it substance abuse. Right? It's kind of strange to me. And I don't know if any of these leagues test for alcohol, but at the rate that a lot of these players, especially the NFL, and actually all major league sports, where they get these DUIs, get drunk, and beat up their spouse, and all these different things. Like, so alcohol must not be a big deal. So I don't see why weed should be, right? Right, marijuana, because it's used as tinctures and creams and oils, all these different things. So it has multiple usage as far as how it heals. So yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing that the NBA is doing. Now, this is to you, for you, and you, and me. For those that may want to know, I am still currently sipping on E40, Mr. Earl Stevens Tycoon Cognac. If you like cognac, it's definitely smooth. If you don't like cognac, you'll probably still enjoy it because it's a smooth brown liquor, and it does the job. You can sip it a little bit and chill a little bit. You can sip a little bit and chill a little bit. That's what you can do when you're sipping on cognac. And again, if you're just now tuned in somehow, some way, and you don't know, now you do. Liquid Courage. I am that dude. Beethoven, the in the fader. So, do people believe in going Dutch? You know the terminology for I pay half the check as a man, the man on the date. You pay half the check as a woman on the date. Or if it's woman, man, whatever, you into, however you get down. When you go on that date, who's responsible for the bill? Anyone? Anyone? I don't know. I know, but I don't, right? And this is why I say I know, but I don't. Because is it okay, right? When does traditional roles take effect, or do they, right? Is it all based on the individual's belief? So is it all based on what I believe and you believe, whoever I'm on a date with? So if she says, hey, you know what? I believe that the man should always pay. Okay, I can dig that. As long as she's, communicated that. I'm not saying I would, but I'm not saying I wouldn't. Right? So when does traditional roles take effect, or do they take effect at all? Especially 2023, it's the equal rights thing. Women having the same rights that men have, and and men and women are like, oh well, we don't do traditional roles. I shouldn't have to work, and she stay home, and she's like, I don't want to stay home and just push out babies and clean the house. I want to work too. Women could be the CEO, COO, what have you, CFO, or all these different, high-end titles of a Fortune 500 company. So women have been able to vote since 1910, 1912. Don't shoot the messenger. I just know it was around the time in the early 1900s. So things have transitioned a lot thus far, right? So just from 1900 till now, so we say 123 years, right? Things look a lot different now than they did back then. So when we talk about traditional roles and who should pay and who shouldn't pay and all these type of things, what factors in? What factors are we putting into the equation here? Because this is my take on this subject. Uh, I don't mind paying. If I have it to pay and I ask you to go out, I'm not, first of all, I'm not going to ask a woman to do, I've never asked a woman to do something with me and not been able to foot the bill. Hey, you want to go out of town for the weekend? I need to make sure I can cover that weekend because of how I was raised. See what I'm saying? It's not necessarily traditional roles, right? Man does this, woman does that. It's the way I was raised. My folks raised me to if to be the person, play your role. So if I'm asked out on a date, then I am to expect the woman to pay for that date. Now, someone, you ladies out there, you're gonna see this, hear what I'm saying, and you're gonna clutch your pearls. How dare he? Well, this is how I dare. My folks, I was raised with a father figure and a mother figure, right? In the household, man and woman. So I got the best of both worlds, right? So my mother actually was very big on and is very big on if whoever offers, that's who pays, right? So if I offer to take and say, hey baby, you want to go to the movies this weekend, and she says yes, that's my date. That I, you know what I'm saying, that's our date. But I'm responsible for the financials on that date because I offered to take her out with me. So just look at this scenario. Look how strange it may be, right? Check this scenario in the strange behavior. I say, hey baby, you want to go out to dinner? You know what I'm saying? And go rent moped scooters, I don't know, and ride around and then go have dinner and then go to the spa later or go to the hotel or whatever, right? And then I go pick her up and I say, oh, it's on you, right? First thing out her mouth is most likely going to be, please, what's on me? Or just like, what are you talking about? Because the expectation will not be for her to pay, being that I asked her out. And based on the way I was raised, it would be vice versa, right? So if I get approached like, hey, little daddy, you know what I'm saying? What you doing this weekend? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, getting that because, you got to show the dimples and, blush a little bit, let her know it's working. You know what I'm talking about? That's just me being foolish. But nah, for real, you gotta just, if that's what you want to do, you let it be known that's what you want to do. Yeah, I don't mind. I don't feel that she should have to ask me, you cool, because I got it. Because the expectation should be because she asked me out, she's taking me out, right? And a lot of women, and some dudes, but a lot of women believe that even if she asks the man out, you ask him out, you should pay. But a lot of women believe differently, right? Or some, I ain't gonna say a lot. But some women believe even though she offers to go out, that the man should still then pay. But if the man offers to take you out, he should still then pay. So I don't know. It's what a conundrum we find ourselves in, because I feel that it's common sense. A wise man once said, "Common sense isn't so common." Ain't that the truth? However, it just makes sense that if a person asks to take someone somewhere, that they most likely have a plan. And usually if you already have a plan in place, the finances of that plan are going to be or already have been taken care of. That's how I see it. Maybe my vision is blurry. I don't know, but that's the way I think it. That's I ain't gonna say that's the way I think it should be. That's how I get down. That's how I get down. So you shouldn't ask somebody to take them anywhere and do anything with them and then expect them to pay for your excursion, to pay for the adventure. I think that that's wrong actually. I think that's backwards thinking. If I ask you, "Hey baby, let's go on a cruise." All she should be asking me is, if she wants to go, is, "Oh, where we going? How long are we going for? So I know how to pack." That's all she should be asking. Now, I will say this because I was also taught this as well, and I think it makes sense. And I'm the type of person, if this doesn't work out for me the way I want it to, then I'll gracefully bow out. A lot of the times, probably 3 out of 5, not 4 out of 5, I'm going to decline the offer. You should be able to pay for things yourself, right? Sometimes we have financial hardships. That's understandable. But you should be able to pay for things yourself. And I'm saying that to say that doesn't mean because, oh, well, they offered to leave your wallet at home. It doesn't mean that. That's trifling. I don't agree with that. Sometimes it happens, you forget, but you can't be gone. I mean, to be gone for the whole weekend, no, you're going to be gone for the weekend. We just may have to run late, but I'm going to go back and grab my wallet, grab my little tools and fuse I have, just in case I may need it. You know what I'm saying? You never know. But I believe everybody should have the finances, if applicable, right? Because again, financial hardships, I get it. But if applicable, you should have the finances to cover whatever it is you agree to do. You should. And again, if applicable. Because sometimes we have financial hardships. She's like, "Oh yeah, I don't know if I want to go because I had to pay this, had to pay that, and I don't have the money." And that would be up to me to be like, "Oh, okay, cool. I'm not gonna ask what she got or anything like that. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of this, this, and this." So, and maybe I can't really, by the time it come down to it, maybe I said we're gonna do A, B, and C, and we can't do D, E, F, and G. But it's cool because I will be covering that cost, and vice versa. If she does the same thing as the woman offers the man to go on a trip. Now, a lot of us men, it's been like that since the dawn of time, right? Since the beginning, we don't like to be catered. Well, not necessarily catered to, but we don't like to feel like we can't do. So it's like, hey, if I make 50 grand a year and she making 130 grand a year, she's probably going to be able to do more things than I can do, no matter how I penny pinch. As long as she's not super frivolous with her money, all she have to show is an inclination of being a miser, and she'll be able to do a lot more with my money, with her money, than I can. So stuff like that is understandable too. Now, I do understand that, again, men are like, "Oh, well, if I can't do it, I'm just going to say nah." I'm not like that. But I will decline that offer for that particular time if I feel my finances just won't be in place to make that play for myself at that time. I just, or I'll let you know, yeah, I probably won't be able to make it. I want to say yeah, but nah. So it's a no for me, dog, for now. You know what I mean? I'll probably do something like that. And I think that that's okay. Even when women do it, I think that is okay. And of course, me, I've been the person you say, nah, because I don't have the money. Well, I'm not asking if you have the money. I'm asking if you want to do it. But as I've gotten older, I start realizing that, men and women are the same in a lot of ways. Different in a whole lot of others, but we're the same in a lot of ways. And that's one of them. People like to be able to pay for themselves, especially nowadays. People like to be able to pay for themselves. And I understand that. But what I'm saying about this, you know, 50-50 on the first date, I guess it's not so black and white because on the first date, probably 3 out of 4 times when a man and a woman meet, a man is probably the aggressor, right? A man is doing the approaching. But then nowadays, I don't know, because it's some really aggressive women out there who, you know, I have a friend who's married, and he was pressed by a chick one time, and she hit him with the line that dudes hit chicks with. She hit him with he was like, I'm married or I'm with somebody at the time. I can't remember, was he married at the time? I can't remember. But it was pretty much like, oh, I'm with somebody. And she was like, oh, that's cool. You happy? And he had to step back like that. I almost had to give her a high five, like, sis, you own it. Up top. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Because I get where she was coming from. She was just like, oh, okay, well, you know, I don't see her. So, you know, you out here, you saying that. Women been using that as a deflection for so long, even wearing the rings when they not married or engaged or not even with anybody, right? Just throw the ring on as a defense mechanism. And since women know how they get down, I guess they're like, oh, he's saying that, but buddy probably ain't, bruh probably ain't, homeboy over there probably ain't. And so they press, they push. So I get it, I understand it. Not saying it's okay, not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying I understand it, I respect it, I get it. But with that said, women are aggressive too, especially nowadays. So on the first date, I feel like if baby asked me out, she should pay for the first date. That's the way I was raised. And who am I to disobey my parents? Nah, but for real, that's just the way I was raised. So I feel like if, you know, I mean, even all the way down to nieces, nephews, daughters, sons, and I feel there's things that you should. There's a lot that was instilled in us that we should put in them as well, and that's one of them. Just so you know your place, you know where you're at, you know your role at that time. Because excuse me, traditional roles, they don't really exist no more. They can, if your way of thinking goes along with my way of thinking, your upbringing is similar to my upbringing, and we're okay with, you know, taking those upbringings the way we were brought up along with us when we start living our lives on our own, and that's how we mesh, then so be it. So traditional roles do exist, but a lot of folks, they don't exist within them, and a lot of people have done away from them supposedly. And I say supposedly because then you have it on the other hand, they want traditional roles, right? Traditional gender roles to be in effect, but then they don't want them to be in effect all the time. You know, because what happens when a woman says, "Oh yeah, well I believe the man should pay," but you know, because it's traditional and I believe in tradition. But then when it comes to performing, you know, all those to carrying out all those other traditional standards, it's like, nah. I figure you got to be all in or all out. Putting your toe in the pool and saying you went swimming that's just not what that is. You either put your body in there and move around, you know what I mean, or you don't. You can't put your arm in there and feel how cold it is. Be like, oh, what you do today? I went swimming. No, that's not how it works. So you either all in or you're not in at all, really. So when it comes to the first date, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I feel the first date should be 50-50. Therefore, there's no expectation set so early. Because even if a woman pays for everything, sometimes there could be an expectation. There could be a standard set there unknowingly, and vice versa for the man, right? If I feel like if two people just meet, and it doesn't matter how quick it is, you go on your first actual physical date in a month, You can be locked in and go in a week. You can meet today and like, oh well, today's Thursday, right? So let's go to brunch on Sunday, right? So even with that agreement, I still feel no matter who brings it up, uh, because obviously you're interested, right? When you're talking to somebody, you're trying to get to know them, you're interested. So since there's an interest there, you obviously want to see how far it could go, right? How serious somebody is. And usually you get to see more when you're when you're around somebody physically for a little bit of time. You get to see, you get to lock eyes and maybe hold hands, you get to read body language. You know what I'm saying? So usually in person, has to happen for people to really know who it is that they're dealing with. And, a first date, first couple of dates, I don't know. Maybe the first 2 to 3 dates should probably be 50-50 on the finances. That's what I think. Because once you start doing special things, that sets an expectation and that sets a standard. Whether she's doing the paying or he's doing the paying, doesn't matter. Whoever is doing the paying, it sets a standard and an expectation. And to do away with that, if you go 50-50, I've known some people, I've heard of some stories where people have went 50-50 on dates for a while. Even if it's like she paid this one and he agreed to pay next one, or vice versa, right? So let me kind of break down the whole 50-50 thing, right? You're trying to get to know people, so getting to know people, you typically would become a friend first, right? All of my friends that are women, we've shared tabs. Cut the bill straight down the middle. Whoop. Went to have coffee or tea, or when I went back to school, or going out for beers or with colleagues, things like that, right? It's like I buy this round, you buy next round, right? But the majority of the time, we would pay separately. I'll order something, they'll order something, because there's the expectation is we're friends, and we don't want to. And you could do stuff for your friends, don't get me wrong, but I think that there's a different expectation and standard set when you're strictly friends. So when people are dating to get to know each other, I think they should set to be friends first. And I think that's where that 50-50 comes in. Nobody is no 40-60, no 80-20, 35-65, none of that. Right? We're not, you wouldn't be doing that. And so the expectation will be you'll hit the floor with expectation, and it'll be level across the board, right? And I think with that, that's where the 50-50 makes a lot of sense. So again, it still may not make sense to a lot of people. But is it okay to go 50-50 on the first date? Yes. Yes, it is. Date 2, date 3. Unless you are okay with setting an expectation. And some people may say, oh, no, well, it's not that I'm setting an expectation, but you are. You are. We all brag to our boys. We all brag to all the girls that brag to their girlfriends, the ladies to their lady friends. Oh, girl, he did this. Woo, 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 woo. And we do the same thing. Fellas be like, yeah, bro, she, man, we went out, man. She went all out. She did this, she did that, man. I had the $110 tomahawk or whatever it called. You know what I'm saying? It was a la carte, and I blew about $300 myself. But that's probably gonna be the expectation now, instead of it being a 50-50 deal. So it's just something to think about. Old school Arsenio Hall, things that make you go, you know what I mean? Wherever you point it, I don't remember. It's been so long. But 50-50 is very, very important, and everything I just explained up until this point is why. So yes, it's okay to go 50-50. Yes, it is. Especially since we're in a world now where people do not believe in traditional gender roles. So because we don't believe in traditional gender roles, let's keep that equality equal, right? Not Not you know, let's fluctuate it for the convenience of me and how I want things to be done right now. Because then that sets a whole different tone, a whole different expectation, and it just might not go well because you seem to be unsure of what you really want, male or female. Man, doesn't matter. So, with all that said, I'm going to have myself a sip, another, and another, since I've had about 2 sips now. And I've finished the rest. Have a sip and relax. You're tuned into or have been tuned into Liquid Courage. I am your host with the most Beethoven, the innovator out.